Stanford University.
Hi everybody, my name is Danny. I graduated from Stanford in 2000 with a degree in, of all useful things, history. Much of my work since that time has been involved in reconnecting and rebuilding food sheds, the area of land and resources that supplies communities of eaters. And we all have our food sheds and they all fluctuate seasonally and they might be different depending on what you're eating, but a lot of our work, a lot of my professional career has been dedicated to bringing food from the food shed onto our tables. So to kind of kick us off here, I wanted to talk about two different quick examples about what we would think about in terms of a farm-to-table connection. A simple one, this was one of my earliest careers in the food system profession, was working for a strawberry farm in Santa Cruz County. Really easy to get strawberries from Santa Cruz County to Palo Alto or Stanford. There's a crew that goes out in the morning, they start picking strawberries, you bring out some empty boxes, they pack them into the boxes, you drive a truck out into the field, an hour or two later, you pull the box on the truck drives over Highway 17, here we are. They can go to restaurants, they can go to grocery stores, they can go to individual customers, they can go to Stanford University. Nice and simple. Right up the road from that strawberry farm, there was a cattle rancher. That cattle rancher, and I'm sure that for all of us who are involved in food systems, and that's basically everybody in this room, we all know this story in some sense or another about how meat gets to our table. But for the purposes of my career, this is a really important step. So I'm going to just quickly walk us through it. That cattle rancher is what's called a cow-calf operation, and that accounts for the vast majority of ranchers or cattlemen in the US. It means that they've got mamas, they bring in stud or they have their own stud, and they birth off calves. So they've got their resource that provides an end product. The mamas are the resource, the calves come off it, and the calves are what get sold. The calves are sold to a broker, sold at auction. They go off potentially to a backgrounder to get up to the right weight, and then they go off to a feedlot. And this is where all sorts of things happen to them. Oftentimes they get subtherapeutic antibiotics. They are fed a lot of corn. This makes a lot of sense for everybody involved in this operation, from the rancher to the broker to the auction yard to the backgrounder to the feedlot. We've set up an economic system where each of those decisions is absolutely the correct economic decision. Through cheap corn, cheap oil, this is the way it's easy for everyone to do this. And part of that is because the cow's growth curve, when they're young, is very high, so it's profitable for the rancher to keep them on the ranch. And when they get older, their growth slows down. So that's when they put them on corn and they finish out real fast. I'm not sure that everyone in the room is happy with that. I know that I certainly am not. And so I started looking into alternatives. What's our alternative to that? Well, our alternative is to support local ranchers here in the food shed and be able to give them a market here in the Bay Area, here in the urban core, where they can bring their livestock to market. What does that look like? You need a number of things. You need some way to finish them. And that's where grass finishing comes in. You've probably heard the term grass-fed. All cows are grass-fed at a base level because they spend their first 8 to 15 months, depending on what kind of operation, what kind of season, the quality of the grass. This is the first part of their life on grass. Grass-fed beef or grass-finished beef or 100% grass-fed beef is beef that stays on grass usually for a full 20 to 26 months, depending on all of those things, seasonality, pasture quality, all that kind of fun stuff. That's a really important method. This is the way that cows were designed to work. Cows are designed to take grass, which if any of us in the room were to go out and eat a mouthful of grass, we would just pass it right through our system. We wouldn't derive any nutritional value from it. Cows and other ruminants are designed to take grass and magically transform it into delicious things like ribeye steaks. We want that. That's a great technology that we already invested in over the past tens of thousands of years of animal domestication. What we need to do is build the economic and capital innovations that allow us to reconnect that cow to our plates here. So how do we do that? Summer of '99, between my junior and senior years here at Stanford, I turned down the option of working at Sierra Camp, and I turned down the option to edit and index. And I strongly suspect that the book for that this index was for subsequently won a Pulitzer. So I'm not sure this was 100% the right decision, but it was my decision, and I've lived with it ever since. I took a job working on a grass-fed beef ranch down in San Juan Bautista. I had some pastures in San Juan and some in Hollister. Fantastic. Beautiful ranch, beautiful ways of producing beef. It was a closed herd. It basically ran two different operations. It had a cow-calf operation that had a finishing operation. So as those calves got old enough, he'd move over to other pastures for finishing. High density rotational grazing. Instead of think of it this way, instead of having a ranch with one big fence around the exterior where the cows get to roam around, cows are what you call selective grazers. They know what grass tastes better and what grass tastes worse. If you run your cows all over the same ranch, they will eat up all the good grass, and in a couple of years you'll have a ranch full of bad grass. No good. What you want to do is you want to have a number of little parcels all throughout the ranch. It's really easy to do this with electric fence, flexible, cheap, and you move your herd in a really dense herd around your ranch. And this way you can manage your grasses. You can bring back natives, you can increase the uptake of the cows. You can sometimes get a whole second time through. My job was, this ranch had recently gone over to grass-fed. My job was to put the water in for all of these new paddocks. The problem with this model was access to market. He didn't have USDA slaughter, and we didn't have USDA packing. That's really important. Without USDA approval on slaughter and packing, all you can do with meat is direct to customer. A lot of opportunities there. Sold at farmers markets, sold with a CSA program. Both of those were great, but you're not transforming the food system. What we do at Marin Sun Farms is started off real similar to that. Started off with 3 cows about 14 years ago, and it has grown since then. We now have lots of cows and lots of other stuff too. We've made key investments in trying to rebuild the capacity of the food shed and reconnect it to the market here in the Bay Area where the eaters are. We started off, coastal Marin has a slight advantage over San Juan Bautista and Hollister in that Marin gets a lot more fog, right? It's foggy and cold in Marin, hot and sunny in San Juan Bautista. That's important. When grass is your engine for all these resources, the ability for your grass to stay green longer is key. So where you'd have 2 good months of green grass in San Juan and Hollister, we can get 4 or 5 in Marin. That's already a big step forward. One of the first things that Marin Sun Farms did was to build out year-round grass finishing for beef. That's tough. That involves using the whole food shed. That involves different pastures, different regions, different microclimates, different times of the year. But once you have year-round fresh meat, instead of the previous models where you finish them all off on grass in June or July and you slaughter all your finished animals, and then you sell what you can fresh and everything else goes into the freezer and you sell frozen meat other months of the year. At Marin Sun Farms, we built out 12 months of finished fresh beef. That was difficult, but it was powerful. With year-round fresh meat, you can start to support year-round butchers. You can start to make investments in year-round rent payments on a butcher shop or a processing facility. These are powerful things that help move the market and allow greater access for ranchers. We started off with a retail shop out in Point Reyes. That's now our retail butcher shop and restaurant. We subsequently subleased a small USDA facility in San Francisco. We outgrew that earlier this year. And in July, we moved into our own USDA certified processing facility in the middle of San Francisco. We haven't been in all the other processing facilities in San Francisco, but we're pretty sure it's the largest meat processing facility in San Francisco. And what we do there is we've also built out year-round processing for year-round supply of pork, goat, lamb, poultry, and eggs. And in our USDA meat plant in San Francisco, we receive in those whole carcasses of grass-finished, pasture-raised meats. And there we have a crew of, right now, 18 butchers employed year-round with health benefits, with PTO, who do all of the butchery work for us. We have our own sales staff. We have our own distribution staff. We are a vertically integrated protein supply company that is reconnecting the food shed from every step, from the rancher through slaughter to processing, sales, distribution, retail, right to the customer. This has been a tremendous growth area for us, and we hope that we have more of it in the future. With your guys' support, it's all, a number of our beef is in dining halls here. I think it's all the ground beef. All the hamburgers in the dining halls here at Stanford are from us, which has been fantastic. Thank you, all of you, for that.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.